And we're off to the races.
All right.
So, boys and girls, today we're going to talk about one of Ty's recommended films this week. Do you want to take it away for a little bit?
Yeah.
Kind of talk about it?
So so this movie that we're talking about is kind of a cult film, in like the anime community. It's kind of been getting more popular recently, but because some people have made videos about it. But it's called Angel's Egg. Came out in 1985, and it was directed by Mamoru Oshii, who is known for directing Jinro, The Wolf Brigade, Ghost in the Shell, um, a couple other like he's a pretty legendary in the field, a pretty legendary director. But this movie is kind of interesting because he made it at a time in his life when he was kind of having a crisis of faith, basically, because he was a Christian in Japan, and so he was kind of having like a crisis of faith. This movie is kind of about it's kind of about well, we'll get into it, I guess, because it's really complex. But yeah, there's a lot of existential themes and things like that, and it's just a really good movie that I think more people should watch.
Yeah, I did notice that that explains actually what one of my things I wanted to talk about was there's a lot of uh, like Christianity involved. Like them talking about, I think it's Noah's Ark at one scene.
Mm-hmm.
So so at
I
this
mean,
time it
there's a
was.
lot.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say there's just like a lot of Christian symbolism and like religious symbolism in general.
Hmm.
But like, what were you saying?
So like the fact that it's called the Angel's Egg. I still don't
Mm.
understand why it's called the Angel's Egg and why it's, some of the endings and stuff. I'm not uh, into anime too
A little bit
much.
confusing.
Yeah, so I'm not used to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay? It's one of those movies where you kind of start to see more about it the more you watch it. Um, I kind of was confused at first, but I have a couple theories. But I don't want to go ahead and let go of all my theories like off the bat because I feel like it'll just instantly click and then you'll be like, "Oh shit." And then like your interpretation might not have as much of an effect. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. So
like cuz it's supposed to be like a thing where you take your own opinion.
let's start off as I'm very uncultured into like anime, so let me kind of describe how this movie went for someone who's not used to anime. Would that
Okay.
help?
All right.
So first of all, the opening is kind of somewhat confusing because it takes place. You can tell it's like an apocalyptic era after like the Earth's I think been flooded or something. Is that
Mhm.
true? The Earth's been flooded,
Uh,
or
well, keep talking, and I'll tell you
uh,
what I think.
some weird spaceship pops up out of nowhere. I still don't know what that's all about at the beginning. It looks like it's
Okay, so
supposed to be like a bunch of statues of people or something.
right, well, okay, so okay, so this is kind of the consensus, the general consensus about the eye, right? Or it's called the eye. It's supposed to be like it's like a giant machine, right? And it looks kind of like a giant round eye, with like all these statues on it. I think that. Oh, one second. I think that the eye is supposed to represent like the eye of God, like an omniscient force, basically,
That
that's like watching over them. You see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it,
I'm starting to understand. You look really
in
deep
what?
into this
Yeah,
stuff usually, so
yeah. I did a deep dive. I wrote like 5 to 6 entire pages of notes, so I'm not gonna go through all of them because it would take forever. But I literally was like, there were parts because there's not much dialogue in this movie, so the parts that they did have dialogue, I basically like quoted the scriptures that they said, the biblical scriptures that they said like word for word. Um, and then again, there are some things that make absolutely no sense. Like especially towards the end, there are things that I think I can like only make any sense of outside of the context that they're given in. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like do you remember the scene where the girl, she jumps into the water, right, and she sees a reflection, and it's like her older self.
Yeah.
and then
I
she
didn't
like spits out all
understand.
the eggs.
I didn't understand
Yeah.
that.
Well,
So I didn't understand
okay.
a lot
Well,
of the movie. I should have watched it like four
I
or five
know.
times to start understanding it. So
There's a lot. There's like so much. Well, like, okay, I guess you could go through and tell me what your interpretation of it is, because I know that when you watch it, right, you're gonna come to your own conclusions basically about like what is going on, because you're gonna try to come up with your own reasoning basically. So that's kind of what I want to hear.
my interpretation of the film was that it was more artistic. It's just supposed to show off like their anime art style and all of that, but they still have some good storytelling. It's not simplistic. It's very deep.
Hmm.
Like you've got to look deep into the story to understand what's kind of going on. So I think if I had
Yeah.
watched it multiple times and kind of written down thoughts and ideas that I've had, I would have been more versed in giving more of a synopsis of the film. So my synopsis of
But I
the
mean,
film is that it's just got one boy, one girl. That's their names, by the way. They do not have
yeah,
names.
they don't have names that we know of. I mean, okay, I have another theory about the boy and the girl in regards to who they could be symbolically, but okay, well, okay. So you know how the man has that cross thing,
Yeah,
right? Okay,
yeah.
so this is gonna get a little bit rabbit holey, just a little bit. Okay, so the cross thing is a gun. You know, it's like a gun. You can tell it's like some sort of firearm, but it's also shaped like a cross,
I thought it
which
was a
is
sword.
obvious.
He uses it as
No,
like
it
a
was like because
sword because he
well, he only
stabs
uses
the
it
egg.
once in the movie. Yeah, well, he like smashes it. You know what I'm saying? Like smashes it like a blunt object. So I think that the man is supposed to symbolize like a Christ-like figure, like Jesus Christ.
Uh huh.
And furthermore, this is just a little bit, like I said, once again, a little bit more rabbit holey. But if you look at his hand in the scene that he crushes the egg in, he has bandages over his hands where Christ would have been um, crucified. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like that was quite an obvious, like, little allusion to it. But I think there's also something cyclical about the world. Like, I don't know if you've noticed this, because this is something I noticed only on my second watch through. But do you remember at the beginning how the little girl had, like, she didn't wake up until the eye came down and made the noise, you know?
Yeah, I understood that.
So after she wakes up, right, she, like, looks out at the sky, and the sky's, like, red, right? You remember that?
Hmm.
So, like, she goes to sleep after that again. She, like, goes back to sleep. And then when she wakes up again, all the color of the world is gone. Like, at that point, from that point on, the spectrum of the movie is entirely just like blacks and blues and grays and whites. There's no other color in it other than that after that point, aside from like maybe like, I don't know, really tiny things. So I think that there's like a cyclical type thing to what's going on there. I think that the boy and the girl are either like immortal or something like that. You know, I mean, maybe that's just me.
Well, my sort of idea of what was kind of happening at the end was that, like, uh, their god kind of started flooding the earth, like how they were talking about in Noah, and then all hell kind of broke loose, as if something terrible had happened. And then I kind of
Mm-hmm.
got lost in that area too. There's just so much
Mm-hmm.
going on. It's just eggs popping out of the
Yeah.
ground, the city's flooding, like how I think it's the boy is talking about the Noah's Ark and everything, and how he built the ark to escape the flood and then survived or
Yeah.
something.
Well, there's definitely a lot of symbolism with the arc, right? Like a couple times. And this is what I think personally. And maybe you might have noticed this too. And I think a lot of people have noticed this. But at the end, like the very last scene, you know where it's like zooming out, right? It's zooming out, and then it's like a sea of nothingness, and then like their entire landmass is just Do you remember that part?
Yeah, you broke up for a second there though. I don't understand why, but
Oh, sorry.
could you repeat that, please?
Okay.
So I know when I play,
Yeah,
I'm an E4 for life.
sorry.
So
I
when I
said
play E4 and we
the
get a
scene
Pierce,
where the very final scene in the movie where they like zoom out. Basically, it zooms out
Uh huh.
and it shows it as like a there's like a landmass and just the sea. You know.
Yeah.
So that landmass, I think, is an overturned arc.
That that actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that actually kind of seems like that's what's supposed to be happening. But
Yeah.
it's just I I didn't see that while watching the first time on the film. I was wondering what they were zooming out on. So they were on like an arc the
Hmm.
entire time. Is that? Because
Well,
I
it's not really known. Like it's like at first, because when I first saw it, when it zoomed out, I thought it was the Earth. I thought it was like the Earth in space, and I thought that it was like so like the Earth had been basically destroyed and only been left as a little sliver of what it was, and through some like fantastic power or something, it was being suspended. You know, that's kind of what I got at the first time I watched it. But then I looked at it and I realized that it was actually a sea. It was like, and it was like, and the landmass was basically just like an overturned arc, I guess.
yeah, that's the
Um,
one thing I got first
so,
watch was that they were like the Earth was kind of flooded, but I don't know if it's the Earth per se. It could be on some other planet,
mhm,
for all we know. It's not.
yeah,
We can't just assume that because. But I think it
it,
might be the Earth. But
yeah. Well, I kind of agree with you. I kind of agree with you. I think it's my personal opinion is that it's like an alternate. It's kind of like an alternate universe where all of this, like, like religious. I'm trying to think of a way to explain it. It's like an alternate universe where like all of these biblical things that we hear about like actually definitively happened. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like it's like a world where like fantasy and like spirituality are a thing, but they're also kind of damning in a way. Like, have you ever seen those simulations of like what angels, like Christian or like biblical angels, look like?
yeah, I know. I'm religious, so in Christianity, kind of. So I know a lot about that stuff. So
Right. Okay, so yeah, you kind of like you know how like the like biblical angels are kind of like
yeah.
they some of them can kind of be like I guess horrifying in a way the way
Well,
they look.
archangels tend to be horrifying because they're like
Yeah.
the badasses, so to speak. So
Yeah,
they're the strong ones.
well, yeah,
They're the smiters.
but yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like there's so much stuff, and like some of the things that I noticed actually didn't make any sense, like to me. Like I still can't really make sense of the girl spurting out all those eggs at the end. But you know what I do think though? I think one thing is pretty obvious is that the egg itself is like supposed to be a symbol of faith. You know.
Yeah.
Actually, let me pull up in my
Actually,
notes. I
now that you
think I
speak
actually
of,
wrote down that.
now that you talk about that, I'm kind of thinking. The whole thing about Christianity is that uh, you want to bring more followers in constantly. So,
Mm-hmm.
like, what is it? Go out there and make brothers of men or something, or fishers of men.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be what the eggs are. So once that.
Oh, you know what? You just made a connection. I think like without realizing it about something else in the movie. The
What,
fisherman, the literal fisherman.
oh, I forgot about the fishermen.
Yeah, the literal fisherman.
Yeah, but that's what I kind of get from that is, but I'm not sure if that's what that's supposed to be. But it could be the actual fisherman. Is what he
Well,
was
it's
talking
kind of
about.
I think they're both kind of similar. I think they both similarly represent like blind faith, I guess. Because the girl, okay, so there's like this question, right? Of like what's inside the egg? Like what do you think? What do you personally think is inside the egg?
I don't want to say that it's one of those angel things because I don't think it's an angel. I honestly believe
Mm-hmm.
that it's something other than the angel that they find dead in the wall or fossilized. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I would say for that. 'Cause there's so many options. Because you could say that if if when the guy killed it, they could have killed Faith in general. If you pictured Faith being in the egg, it's kind of like the Quentin Tarantino briefcase from Pulp Fiction. No one
Oh
truly
yeah,
knows
yeah, yeah, yeah,
what's in the briefcase for Pulp Fiction, so no one truly knows what the egg is. It's a symbol of hope, I
right.
think. Also,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
so
That's a good idea. That's actually really, really good.
as the boy kills the egg, everyone kind of loses hope.
Mm-hmm.
But I still don't know why the boy killed the egg. That's one thing that I've been wrapping my mind around is why would he have done that?
Well, he didn't do it at first. Remember the first time he had her egg but didn't break it? And then he said to her, I remember this distinctly. He said, "You should keep things that are precious to you inside you." Do you remember that? She ran up to him and he had the egg and he handed it to her and he said, "You should keep things that are precious to you inside of
Yeah,
you."
I do remember that, but
So,
it's just there's just so much to analyze in this film, but there's so little dialogue that it's all visuals. And the problem with
yeah, it's all
visuals is that
visual,
they're
yeah.
objective and subjective. So that so whoever's seeing it may think something else. So think about if
Right.
you were seeing this from another religion, such as like if you were Muslim or Jewish.
Mhm.
How would you picture all these things, all these Christian symbols, if you were from that specific religion? That would be an interesting
Right.
topic of conversation for this movie. But
Mhm. Well, I think that's kind of the point, right? Is it's like I think it's supposed to change based on your perspective. I think every person has their own interpretation of it and they're not wrong. You know, nobody is really wrong in their interpretation of it. Because like what you said about the egg actually makes total sense. Like it could, you know, what's inside the egg could be hope itself, you know. But for me personally, what I think is, see, I'm not religious, um, and I don't have a problem with people who are religious. You know, I'm not a dick
I
like
don't
that.
either.
Like whatever. Yeah. But personally, I think the egg itself represents, like, I think the egg itself represents blind faith, right? Because it's like, it's kind of alluded to in the film, right? It's like, well, the guy literally says it. He says, you can't know what's inside the egg without opening it, you know?
Well, that's the
And we,
point
at
of
that point, we
faith.
don't know what's inside the egg.
The point of
Right.
faith, you don't know.
But it's like,
Yeah, I see
that's the
where you're coming
scary
from.
part, though, you know? See, that's
Yeah,
the scary part for me. So I think the egg itself, not necessarily what's inside the egg, represents faith. And I think that when he broke the egg, I think there was nothing inside. And I think that's why the girl screamed. Because I think that her faith, her blind faith in the egg, right, was like, that's like her belief. And him breaking the egg is basically him forcibly showing her that her faith is false, basically, to her. That's him showing her, basically forcing her to see that. So it's kind of the perspective of someone who is religious or is not religious, kind of trying to say, well, okay, it's not exactly the same as someone trying to quote convert someone because he does break the egg. He literally breaks her symbol of faith, which is impossible. You know, in real life, you impossible to do that because we don't have the means to prove it. So
nowadays
I don't
it's
know.
a little
That's kind of
easier
just my
though,
opinion.
so
Well,
it's
that's the
easy to
thing though, is
lose
you could
faith.
say it's whatever. Yeah. I mean, you could say it's whatever though, right? Like you could tell someone who's religious that, oh, this and this and this is the reason why what you believe in isn't real and what I believe in is real. And then for the other person, from their perspective, it's just the same way. Because for them, that faith is real and that faith is genuine. So, you know, no matter what you say, you really can't prove that someone else what they believe is wrong. And it's kind of wrong in a way, or no, it's definitely wrong to try to force that onto other people. I think at least. So, and that's kind of what the point I got from that little interaction was.
Yeah. Another thing I was thinking about talking about was it's got a futuristic feel, but it seems like it's not super far into the future. If you realize what I'm talking about, like it
Hmm.
doesn't seem like it's extremely far into
I
the
know what you're
future, like
talking about.
most, like some animes. But
Yeah.
that's that's, and I'm trying to think of how I want to put this, but I think that's very important to a story, like the time period it's set in.
Hmm.
I wonder. I
Right.
want to know
Because it's very.
why he chose to put it in that sort of time period and that type of feel. But and now that I'm thinking about it, I think one of the reasons he chose to put it into that time period is like so many people have lost uh, their faith after a whole apocalypse and everything. Um,
Hmm.
that they're just trying to find something to believe in.
Right. And that's like the thing, right? Is like if you even compare that to like modern day, right? Like religion or science is the modern religion, you know? Like people say that all the time, but it's actually true because like the things that we believe in, obviously there's like empirical evidence to prove that a thing that happens. Um, but you know, I think that, in my opinion at least, the movie isn't set like it's set in the future, but I think it's set. It's obviously set in like a gothic or like Victorian era type thing, you know. And I think there's a reason for that. I think it's deliberate. So I think maybe these people like had reached a point in their society because keep in mind in this world it's kind of implied that it's faith based, that their civilization is faith based entirely, which is for most of human history that's basically what it's been.
Yeah. Also, I think
And
that Gothic horror. If you think about how many Gothic places are still up and around today, most of them are churches, such as like
yeah,
Notre Dame.
and they're
Uh,
like,
Go ahead.
oh yeah, well I just want to say that you're kind of right about that, like, and it kind of makes me think of something actually because like these all these churches, right, these Gothic churches and Gothic buildings that are like built around um oh,
Nope, that's
they're
me.
built around Christianity.
Just
Yeah,
pulling up.
I saw. It's okay.
I'm just pulling up pictures.
Hmm. But yeah, the so the Gothic, like these Gothic structures, like in a way, they're kind of like meant to be like terrifying, you know?
Yeah.
Kind
Which,
of like gargoyles and all this shit is on them, like, you know?
yeah. Well, most of this stuff, everything on a Gothic building usually tends to have some sort of meaning or religious symbol. So I think
Hmm.
the 12 apostles are on the Notre Dame. So,
Right.
but everything sort of has a meaning, except what is it? I think is it Notre Dame? There's a certain like Gothic building that has like a picture of Darth Vader on it for some reason. I think that was just some.
What?
And pull it up.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Here.
Well, I think you found a. Whoa! What the? That's not
That's
real. There's
no.
no way.
There's this one. Don't pull open Reddit. If you can see,
I see like I see the one on the right side there. But is
it's
that no
sort
way?
of
That's
no.
not real.
It's there. It's there. It's just sort of funny looking.
Yeah. Is
It's
it literally
definitely been
supposed to
put
look
there
like Darth
recently.
Vader?
It's on
Huh.
the U.S. National Cathedral.
That is so fucking weird. But kind of cool. I mean, you know, that's kind of cool.
I think it's kind of disgraceful. I like Darth Vader and all, but I don't like messing with Gothic architecture. But I think that's just because I've read a lot of
Oh yeah, yeah,
Victor Hugo, and he's
yeah.
constantly just talking about we should not ruin Gothic
Gothic
architecture.
architecture.
It's it's historic.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, isn't it? How like a lot of authors, um, how a lot of authors go into like for example, if you listen to like H.P. Lovecraft a lot, or Edgar Allan Poe, they talk a lot about like um, just buildings. Like they just talk about buildings and buildings and buildings. It's just all they talk about. Like, well, not all they talk about. Okay, that's probably a little bit stupid, but you know what I mean, right? Like they'll go on tirades for like pages and pages about just fucking the building and how it looked weird. You know?
Yeah. But I think what is it? I can't remember many of the different gothic uh things, but I know that the little girl lives in like a is it a cathedral? She lives in some sort of building, like an abandoned building. Is it a cathedral?
She lives. Uh oh, no. You know what? That's a whole thing actually. Like that. It's basically like a cathedral. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The building that you're talking about, it's like a cathedral. Um, and like you notice all the vases full of water. Do you remember that?
Yeah, she's constantly having like a vase full of water that she's drinking out of throughout the entire movie.
Right. And that's why, see that vase, we only see her with it, like, well, we see her with it throughout the whole movie during the time that we're with both of them. But we see those particular vases lined up all over that cathedral for like thousands and thousands of them, which is another thing that makes me think this is a loop, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they even kind of allude to that because the man says to her, he says something like, "How long have you been doing this? Since, like, as many days as there are water vases here?" And then she's like, "I don't know." So it's like that's a whole nother thing too. Is like they both talk about like these things. It seems like they're compelled by something that they can't really control themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like they have very selective memory, and they don't remember like a lot of stuff. And like they don't even know. I don't even think they know their own names. Like really, I think they don't know their own names.
Well, um, if you think it's on a loop, how do you think they age or not? I don't think they age. If you
Yeah, though that's the thing though. Think about that though, right? Like their pale skin. This is why I think their skin might be pale and their hair might be white. Maybe they've just turned that way
well, not
from
every.
aging,
The only
you know?
person with the white hair and white skin is the girl.
Oh, yeah, the guy still has pigment in his skin. Yeah.
Yeah, but he looks
He
beat
definitely
down.
does, yeah.
He looks like he's been beat
Yeah.
down by war and crime, and that's one reason why I think he destroyed the egg.
Mhm.
He's got that. He does have white hair though, but he's still got
Yeah, he
tan
does have
skin.
white hair. Yeah. And they are like the only two like people. Like the fishermen that you see in the movie are like
What about the
they have to
guards?
be ghosts or something. The guards?
There's guards. They're the
I
ones
don't
that
remember
sound
that.
they
What?
sound the alarms when the floods start coming in.
Oh, maybe I don't know. Maybe well that was in the city, right?
Well,
Because everyone if I remember everyone in the city being like ghosts basically or like something like that, like some kind of automated thing like the fisher. I thought the fishermen like were basically the same as that.
so do you think the only two real people are the girl and the boy?
I think they're the last people alive. And because and here okay, well here's a it goes into like a whole different thing. Okay, because so so remember all the statues on the eye at the beginning, right?
Yep.
Okay. So when the egg breaks, the eye rises from the sea again. Okay?
Yeah.
And the red color returns to the sky, right?
Mhm.
So or does it? I don't remember if the red color comes back.
I I think
But
the sky
the
changes color at the end. I know that.
there's like a flash. There's like a flash of light. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so yeah, there's like a flash of light, and you know all those statues are praying, and then the girl, once she falls into the water, it lets go of all those eggs, right? She is seen on the eye. She's on the eye. She's a statue on the eye. So it's like, I think her faith has been rewarded. I think her doing that thing, her taking all those vases or whatever and raising the egg, that whole time, like whoever knows how fucking long, I think that that was like her heaven, her nirvana, her her end basically, is that. I think that's what that's meant to be.
Her
I mean, does
reason
that
to
make sense,
live.
or am I just
So
no, 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 no? Like think about it, right? Like the promise of heaven or the promise of reincarnation, all of that, right? Like the eye, like the statue, being a statue on the eye, it seems like that is like their goal. If it does that make sense? Like
yeah,
their afterlife, or because after she completes her, you know, such and such, her goal, as it were, she is seen on the eye. I mean, do you remember that?
I I don't remember it specifically. Um, I remember the statues changing near the end.
Well, look up angels.
You cut out again. Look up Angel's Egg. Hello.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Look up Angel's Egg. What?
Um, did you look up the statue thing or?
I'm looking that up now.
Oh, okay.
I keep wanting to go towards my laptop keyboard when I have this keyboard right
Mm-hmm.
here closer, so I keep wanting to reach over here. Um, is this the statue? Oh, I'll
uh,
show you for a second. I don't know if this is the statue you were talking about. But if this is the statue you're talking about, I can kind of create a theory off of this one. Is that the one?
wait, scroll up a little bit. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's it. That's it.
You know what that kind of looks like?
What?
It looks like Mary holding baby Jesus. Can you hear me?
It kind of makes sense. I did not think of that. I did not think of that
It
at
looks
all.
exactly like a painting.
Wow.
Let me look up a
Does it also
painting of
kind of
it.
seem like hers is distinguished? Is that just me? Oh, say what were you saying?
Uh, look, hers look more distinguished. Here,
Yeah.
there's a lot of these. There's a lot of these. Here, that statue reminds me of this. See, like all these kind of look similar to the statue
Yeah.
of the girl holding the egg.
Okay, I could kind of see that actually.
You could keep
And
going into
it's like
theories with this
innocent
movie.
too. Yeah, I
She
mean,
also
well,
has
you
something
could
around her hair, or her head, in
honestly,
that too.
yeah. I see. Yeah, and another thing is like it's very she's depicted very innocent. Just that's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. You could go like forever. You could go on forever and ever about this movie. Like there's just so much shit that happens, so much shit that you can talk about. And it's like another thing people think it might be about is like reincarnation, I guess. Um,
I wouldn't say
and
reincarnation
something
because
that
she doesn't. No one comes back to life. Do you think, or does someone come back to life that I didn't know
uh,
about?
I don't know. I mean, it's not that people actually come back, but I forget why it is. I remember I was watching something about how someone thought it was about like Buddhism and reincarnation. I think obviously it's more so about like
Christianity more,
Abrahamic religions, yeah, and
or
Christianity in
Jewish.
particular. Yeah, basically.
I don't know a
And
lot about Jewish people, but they believe in other things such as like they don't they believe that I think is it who is it? Not Moses. Is it Moses? They have a different sort of prophet. But let me see. There's
mhm,
reincarnation, Hinduism, and stuff. There's a lot of ideas. I pulled up film theory if you want to take a look at his idea of
his
what's happening.
interpretation.
Uh, Angel's
Is it like a
egg.
written theory or?
Yeah, it's a written theory. I have it on Reddit. Uh,
Oh, okay.
Angel's egg takes place a long time after the Great Flood. God saw evil in most humans except Noah and his family, so he wanted to erase everything except for them. In the original biblical story, God tells Noah to build the ark and take a pair of every
Mm,
species. It kind of goes into background right here. I'm going to skip ahead because I think most people know about Noah's ark and stuff. Do you know about it? Or do you need a recap?
right.
Do you know about it?
Basically, yeah. I basically
Yeah.
know. I mean, I do. I know the basic.
None of the Noah's ark thing is kind of explained in Angel's egg. Um,
No, it's
God,
alluded to though.
yeah, it's definitely alluded to that one for sure, but it's also got hints at. I think we're looking more into like a Christian version of things because if you think about it, the cross and everything is a symbol of Christianity rather than I think do they call it Judaism? Judaism is the Jewish
Judaism.
Judaism.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
we're looking more into Christianity than Judaism. Uh, just from
Hmm.
that simple fact that there's a lot more connotations to Christianity than there is uh, like the Jewish religion. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna skim this real
Definitely.
quick because this is pretty long.
Yeah. It's that's how long-winded Reddit posts tend to be. They tend to be very
Oh, here's life
sometimes
symbols.
unnecessarily elaborate symbols.
So for like the girl and the man represent two sides of conflicted person about faith. So the
Oh
girl
yeah,
is innocent and
absolutely. I
credulous,
that's
and the man is
right.
skeptical and incredulous. That's a pretty easy thing to get because
Yeah.
the guy doesn't believe in, have faith in the egg and doing what it's
And
supposed to,
she
but the girl,
does.
yeah, she's all for it.
And it's yeah, and it's quite obviously a parallel to like cynicism and blind faith basically. They're like two different it's basically outright like that conversation where they have where she says, "Oh, I can hear it. I can hear it. I can hear it flying or something like that." And the man's like, "No, you don't. It's not. That's
You know
just the
what that
sound
kind
of
of
the
sounds
wind."
like is when
Hmm.
God talks to people,
Like
like in the Bible in
like
general.
through.
The
Oh, well, you're gonna have to explain that to me a little bit better
so
because I'm not
when
very
God talks to
knowledgeable.
people, people tend not to believe in it. They tend to like
Mm.
shrug it off. They tend to believe that that's not true, but then things in the Bible tend to happen the way God says it does. So
Okay.
When God talks to Noah and then tells him to build an ark, at first Noah's kind of like, I I don't think I don't think you're telling the truth. I think you're lying, and kind of like, I don't think you're real and stuff. And takes he's taken aback by it. Uh, Now I could go into an example for a lot of people that aren't really religious, like Evan Almighty. Have you seen that movie?
What is it? Evan
It's
Almighty?
called Evan Almighty. It's kind of like the sequel to Bruce Almighty. In Bruce Almighty, Jim Carrey's character gets all the like powers of God given to him for like
Mm-hmm.
10 days or something, and then he realizes that he doesn't want all that power. And then if we in Evan Almighty, he's told by God, Morgan Freeman's character, to build an ark because there will be a great flood. And at first, Evan kind of just like is taken aback by it, and he's just like, I don't, I don't know how to do this, and I can't do this thing you've asked from me. I have a normal life. I can't just
Mm-hmm.
build an ark. and then as the story goes on, he starts to learn more and more about the like why he's been given this gift and everything. I think his
Hmm.
alarm clock goes off at the same time. I think it's John 3:16 or something. No, not John. Genesis 3:16. Is it John? Noah's Ark. Heaven Almighty. Um, but it kind of talks about that. Uh, it's sort of it, it's a parallel to the story of Noah's Ark, but
Right.
I think you kind of get the gist of uh, the story of Noah's Ark from it, which is pretty cool. So with an exciting cast.
Yeah. Well, that kind of reminds me too. Actually, is like in Angel's Egg, it's alluded to, right? Like that, like it's alluded to, but it's also kind of shown through the flooding of the city and the flooding of the world. You know. So if this is a place, so if they're the landmass they live on is the Ark, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the city is flooded after the girl loses the egg or whatever. Um, or it starts rising before that. But so I kind of think it's a world theoretically where, because you know how there's like the dove or the pigeon or whatever it is with the olive branch, you know,
I think
like
it's a
that's
dove.
because they talked about that. A dove, yeah, yeah, a dove. So it's and you know like he comes back with the thing, and they know that it's safe, you know.
Uh huh.
That's it's kind of like a world where that didn't happen, like where the dove never came back. And he actually says something about that. The man does. He says he says something like the people forgot they sent out a dove, and then they forgot that they sent out a dove or whatever, you know. So it's like, what if it's a world where the rest of the world was flooded and it never came back, and this little microcosm of existence is all that's left of like the people that were there on the ark, and that's the reason why there are only those two people left is because they are the only two people that were on the ark or something like that, you know, like because it could be the man himself, could be Noah or something like that, you know,
Yeah.
because
I
I
did
think
pull up a
that's I
picture of the ark, and it does look like an ark that's been flipped over,
right.
like the bottom of a boat.
Hmm.
So I think that could possibly be an ark. But I still don't. So if there's a city, is the city inside the ark, or are they on? Or there's just so many questions I have. But
Right. It does. I mean, honestly, that part doesn't. I can't really make too anything of it. Like, like it could be that the arc, like theoretically, or I guess actually flipped over, and then they built the city on the bottom of it because they had no other option. You know, because theoretically speaking, there's no more land in this place. You know, so I guess maybe the arc somehow got flipped over, and so they've built something on the back of it or on the bottom of it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But it's like at the same time, why are they so advanced? You know, what's up with their technology? What's because you know when the girl first meets the man, he's riding on these like weird lobster-looking like machines. Like they're very advanced tanks, you know, and they're like scuttling across on the street. They're riding across the street, and the man jumps off, and he seems to be able to stop them at will or something like that because he stops and then all of them stop and then he jumps off, right, and then all of them keep going. So it's like maybe I don't know, man. It's like so cryptic, you know. It kind of like everything about the world there kind of feels damning. Like it kind of feels like it's a world that's kind of lost or something that's been
I
completely
think that's the
lost
point.
basically. Yeah, I think that's definitely a point. Yeah.
Uh, well, what is it? I've been thinking also about. Uh, the movie begins the same way it kind of ends. The eye, the at the beginning the eye comes down, and then at the end I think the eye goes back up.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a. I've been I'm trying to think of how I should put this, but I think that's an interpretation of how, even though something can happen at the end, it feels as though it never really changed the thing.
Right. It's oh, you know what, Matt? You know what? It's purgatory. It's purgatory.
Maybe that actually makes
That's
a
what it
lot of
is.
sense.
Yeah, it's fucking purgatory. It's a cycle. It's the same shit happening over and over again.
Let's
It's
see if
fucking
anyone's
purgatory.
kind of got on that idea. Purgatory. Yeah, there's a lot of symbolization, which would actually put it more into Catholicism.
Yeah,
Which
it's
then we're
true.
thinking about the nine circles of hell and all.
It just has it just I think it incorporates everything, honestly. Like but it's definitely there's definitely something about cycles in there. Definitely
Okay,
think
this
there's
makes a
something
lot
about
of
cycles in there.
in the Catholic faith, eggs represent souls.
Mm.
So there's a dish with baked eggs in its usually for a Catholic holiday, and the baked eggs represent souls, and tomato sauce surrounding them represent purgatory.
Hmm.
So if you think about the tomato sauce, the
That yeah, that could be, yeah.
red sky
That really
surrounding
could
it.
be. And it could be fuck, I had a really good idea about relating to that and I just forgot. And water. In Catholicism, water is a holy thing. Water is a holy symbol. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah,
like you baptize people with water, with holy water, all that shit. And so like the girl brings these vases of water from the city, which is built upon like this Gothic architecture. So she she has the this holy water, so to speak. He's placing at this like cathedral. So it's like there's that whole thing too. And also, I was looking into this a little bit too, because apparently, apparently, water is like a symbol of like femininity in Japan, which kind of makes sense when you look at the scene with the girl falling in the water, because when she falls in the water, she sees herself as a like mature woman, like as a grown woman, and so it's like that's like the only thing that's the only connection I could really make there, you know. But I mean, at the end, we do know that like once she spits out or like heaves all those eggs out of her, like they hatch or they at least grow. We know that they grow into like the thing that we saw at the beginning. But that's like what I want to know is like what the fuck is the bird? Like what is the fucking bird? Like is it an angel? I don't know because the man says or no. When she brings the girl brings him upon this like fossil, this giant fossil of a bird
yeah.
that they were talking about. And she says like, or no, she said, he's like, what'll hatch from the egg or something like that. And she's like, oh, I'll show you. She's like, I know what'll hatch from it. I'll show you. And she brings it to him and he remembers, but he forgot that he remembered. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, see, it's basically like this moment where he's like, oh, I knew all along. He's like, I knew this. Like, why did I let this happen? I knew this all along. And that, after that, is when he decided to break the egg. He decided to break the egg after he remembered seeing the fossil. So that makes me think, right? If this is a loop and they forget things every time and they're kind of just driven by something, some unnameable thing, is this what's supposed to happen every time? I don't know. Because he decides to break the egg. Okay, he doesn't decide to break the egg at first when he sees it. He gives it back to the girl and tells her she should keep precious things inside you, which is quite clearly like a symbol of
Faith, yeah.
it's basically him being a little bit, yeah, it's him being like a little bit nihilistic. It's him being like, keep this to yourself, basically. But then he sees what the egg is supposed to hatch, like supposedly, and he kind of is filled with purpose, I guess, in a way. It's at that point that it's kind of like, all right, you can tell it's shown and it's he says it. So and it's after that that he breaks the egg. So it's like I don't know. It's just so there's so many different like things. There's so many different interpretations you could make of it. But I don't know.
Well, if you think about it, the
I
only clear thing that we kind of see is that there is some sort of bird creature. But
yeah
I don't know if we're supposed to be
yeah
focusing on the bird creature at all. I think it's just
Yeah.
supposed to be something we're supposed to like. I don't. I like this. It kind of looks like a pterodactyl, honestly. But if you
Yeah,
actually
they
think
kind of look
about,
like dinosaurs.
well, yeah, if you think about dinosaurs, though, a lot of Christianity kind of disproves
Hmm.
dinosaurs and stuff. But we have hard fact that dinosaurs did exist. That's one of the things
Oh,
that
so like,
they, because if you
oh,
think
go ahead,
about
go ahead.
Christianity, we think that the world's been around for maybe like 5,000 years compared to like
Uh huh.
millions and billions of years. So if you think about dinosaurs, uh, that could be a symbol of losing faith. But then I also got onto the, you were talking earlier about her going like to heaven and kind of once she becomes a statue, she goes to heaven. Well, if they're in purgatory, the whole point of purgatory is to be placed whether you're in heaven or hell. It's where you become judged. So,
Right.
what
So
if
that
that
just
was
adds
kind of a
another
test?
layer.
What if that was kind of like a
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
test?
Yeah. That's kind of what I meant. Yeah. Like a purpose. Like it's their thing, their test. Like her. Maybe it was her taking the water to the altar all that time. Maybe it was her with the egg. Like nurturing the egg, or maybe it was her finally letting go of all those eggs from inside of her. It was, but whatever it was definitely like her test. It was her thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What I'm
So,
thinking that is, she showed true faith even though people told her not to believe. See,
hmm
that was her test, was showing true faith, whether in something, and then once that was taken away from her, she kind of lost it. But she still
hmm
remained some faith after the fact. She still believed what
right.
she was doing was good and worthwhile. It's a
Yeah. Well,
go
oh,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you got it.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say. Okay, I was gonna say that after the egg breaks, like I said, through my interpretation. Well, okay, like I said, everybody has different interpretations of this movie, and I think yours is definitely very interesting because I've never thought about it that way before. But for my take, basically, oh well, I'm trying to think of a way to explain this. So it kind of seems like you kind of view it more from the girl's perspective, right? Like from what her actions mean, I guess. And I kind of view it more from what the man's perspective. So it's like, for like you said, like you think that the faith is what is inside the egg, and I think that the egg is faith itself, and there's nothing really inside it, in my opinion. So like when he breaks it and there's nothing inside of it, she sees that, and my or at least in my opinion, she sees that there's nothing inside of it, screams because it's a crisis for her. It's a crisis of faith, which is what the movie's essentially about. And then she fucking like she panics and she runs and runs and runs, and then she like jumps, or no, she falls into the water. That's I feel like that's an important detail. She falls into the water, like unknowingly she falls into the water, because you see it, she's running, right? She's running after the man, and she falls into the water, and she doesn't notice it. But then when she's falling, she sees a reflection, like we said. So could that in itself be like the fact that she didn't really digest, or didn't really have time to process her belief and her faith, is the thing that led it not be corrupted? Like is that the case? Is that why she was reincarnated, or not reincarnated, but is that why she was allowed to meet her
Move on.
statue state? Yeah, like to move on basically. And yeah, so like that's kind of how I see that basically. But I think your interpretation is equally as valid, because it's basically the same thing basically.
I think the only way to kind of understand this movie is take account from multiple perspectives, because the boy, the girl have very different perspectives. But one thing we're missing out on is the narrator. That's the third
Yeah,
character. So who is the
yeah.
narrator in this story? Is it God? Is that who the narrator is supposed to be, or
I think maybe the point is that there isn't one. Just like how we see no dialogue, it's like intentionally withheld from us.
how we make our
It's
own paths,
intentionally not
make
shown.
our own choices?
Well, right. It's the narrator, or like that perspective of giving you knowledge is taken away to kind of make it feel more authentic authentically confusing, you know? It's like
Yeah.
a Rorschach test. It's like you see what you see in it. You look at it and it's kind of just a bunch of different things that are loosely related to each other, but you kind of naturally assume or see it's something, basically. So that's kind of what you know, that's kind of my take on it, I guess.
I feel like uh, if you got like a group of people, like this would be a good like a psychology type test or something. You get a whole group of people to watch this movie and all show their own little perspectives on it.
Uh
You
huh.
might be able to understand their thoughts and feelings on faith and religion.
Yeah. I think even just one person can watching this movie. I think they I think watching this it kind of allows you like I think the mistake of this movie or not the mistake of this movie. The I think the worst interpretation of this movie could be that like faith is pointless. I feel like that's kind of not exactly the case. I could see how some people get that from it, but it's not in my opinion at least, it's not so much that faith is pointless. It's more like it's more like we can't really prove or disprove this and this is like a summarization of what it feels like to have that crisis of you know eh, it's kind of like right now right I'm personally having a problem with like accepting mortality like it's a thing that really it hurts me it makes me like thinking about being completely gone and missing out on everything is something that really kind of terrifies me and I feel like this movie kind of captures that feeling from a religious aspect, and not just from a religious aspect, but faith in anything. Because faith is not just religious. Faith can be faith in anything. Faith could be your conviction. Faith can be
Well, is it
your belief.
is it Buddhism that kind of like just reaching what is it like the best life you can? I forget how they put it. The
Are you talking about like karma, and dharma, and the cycle of life, basically,
um, does Buddhism have gods?
or do you not know?
Buddhism doesn't have gods. Buddha
Um,
they have deities. Yeah,
kind of not.
I might not be
I have a
thinking
very
about
limited
Buddhism,
knowledge.
but there's
Uh,
there's one religion where it's just like having the best life you can and
hmm.
kind of reaching that nirvana type of thing. I don't think it's
Oh
nirvana.
well, Nirvana is definitely like a Buddhist concept,
Yeah, but I don't think that's what I'm
certainly.
supposed to be doing. I don't think that's what it's supposed to be, but I'll think of it sometime later. But one thing I did want you to talk about. Did you know any more about the whole religious thing in the director? The director was having troubles
Oh,
with his religion. Was that what it was, or was he like trying to find a new religion?
well, Mamoru Oshii, he, for at least from what I understand, he was just having like a moment or a time in his life where he kind of questioned it, basically, where he kind of questioned his belief, which I think is normal. I think that's something that people should do. I feel like you should question these things, like the nature of existence and stuff. So I think that's kind of what happened is that he was I guess he was just like I think he was in a negative mindset. I think that kind of shows in the movie. But I think basically because he was raised as like a Christian in Japan, or I forget if it's a Christian or a Catholic. But he was raised as a like
I'd say
as that
Catholic.
in Japan.
I'd say Catholic. There's a lot more
Catholic, yeah,
Catholic
probably Catholic.
ideas in this. So he's having more
Hmm.
problems with following his religion, and he's starting to lose it.
Well, I
Is
think
that what
it's
you're?
more like believing in it. Okay. Well, it's kind of see, like you're religious, right? So, have you ever had a time when you feel like doubt, I guess, where you feel like
Yeah,
a confliction, where you feel
all
like
the time.
maybe yeah, you see yeah, like it's that basically where you feel like maybe it's not the way it is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this isn't the case. And I feel like that's kind of what he tried to capture with the movie, basically.
I I see that. Um,
But you know, like I was saying, faith doesn't just apply to religion. For a lot of people, it is. But for like, for example, I would say my faith is the faith in humanity. I think that people have a great capacity for evil, and I think people have great capacity for good. And I think that people are naturally perverted by being in a position over other people. And have faith that I have faith that people that it is possible to bring out the best in each person. You know, that's my faith. So so for me, I guess a challenge or a crisis of faith would be like is like war. I guess war is a good example. It's not the tell all, but it's a good example, right? Of like I guess for me personally having my faith in humanity challenged. And people say that all the time. You're like, oh, there goes my faith in humanity. But like, really, I think I don't know. You get into like the whole conversation of morality being objective, um, and it really is. Some people get mad about that, about the nature of like morality, I guess, because when you're raised in a certain environment, you're raised with certain beliefs. It's for some people it's kind of hard to accept that other people's beliefs might be completely different, and you kind of have to you kind of have to accept the possibility that maybe what you believe in is not objectively right. But that's like a whole thing. That's like a whole fucking thing, you know? Like but those are the questions I think the movie wants to ask, I guess. So, I don't know. But another like religious figure, I guess, in movies is another one of my favorite directors, which is Martin Scorsese. You know, he's known to be very religious. Um, and you know he made what's the
is he
movie that he
Catholic?
made called Passion? I think he is Catholic.
He didn't.
I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
think he
Martin
made
Scorsese is.
Passion of the Christ.
I'm pretty sure he did, dude.
Let me look it up. I don't
I'm
think
pretty
that was.
sure
I
he
think that
made
was
it.
Mel Gibson.
Maybe it's not called the Passion of the Christ. It's the one with Willem Dafoe as Jesus,
Let me look it up.
because he definitely made that one.
Passion of the Christ is Mel Gibson. Let me look up Martin Scorsese's list, and then we'll figure out. I know he's religious. Uh, he's got a lot of like gangster movies, and gangsters tend to be Catholic or have some sort.
Yeah, but he
The
actually
Last
puts religion.
Temptation
He
of
puts
Christ.
the Last Temptation. Yes, the Last Temptation of Christ. Yes, that's it. Yeah, but I mean, they did make Jesus white, and Jesus definitely wasn't white.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't make the movie bad. It doesn't make the movie bad. But
Let me do something. Yeah.
oh yeah, Martin Scorsese works a lot of religious themes in his movies that you wouldn't really think about, like
No, I'm doing this. I'll
Mean
see her when she's
Streets,
back.
especially, which is one of his first ones. I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know. I just think there's like a growing sentiment to think that people who are religious are kind of unintelligent. Like I think I've come across people that actually think that, and I think that's really
Don't
fucking
believe
stupid.
that at all. I think everyone.
Yeah,
can
I
be
don't believe that at
intelligent
all.
If they try, if they like learn
Yeah.
and try to figure out how to
Hmm.
really, because I can be intelligent when I want to. I can put on a facade of being an idiot also, which I did in high
Yeah.
school, and that's my. I hate. Like I have nightmares about going back to high school and being that same thing. I'm being honest. I go to sleep and I'll have a nightmare where I get like something in the mail that says you got to go back to high school, and I have to go back to high school.
Yeah,
I
I
absolutely
I
hate it.
totally understand.
I absolutely hated high school, but I don't find college too different. You get more freedom and stuff, but
Yeah.
I just don't like how.
And people tend to
I
be more
acted.
mature.
If I could go back to high school, I'd change a lot. That's just
Oh yeah.
me.
Same here.
I'd take
Same
more
here.
tries.
But yeah. Like when I was in high school, I was actually like an asshole. Like I was just mean to people, and I was rude, and I was kind of a douchebag, and I kind of fucking regret it. I definitely regret it. I don't have nightmares about it. Well, okay, I can't say I regret it technically either, because I kind of don't like regrets. I kind of like don't see the point of like having regrets. Like I feel guilt about things sometimes, but like I kind of just have to tell myself that it's in the past and move on. Because if I don't, then it's like I'll just weigh myself down and become depressed and not proactive, which is not good. But I think sometimes it comes through in my dreams, like last night. Usually I don't remember my dreams, but last night I had, and I know you know this because we've had classes together that I've talked about this type of thing before, about how my dreams are like heavily influenced by the media that I consume for whatever reason, which
Hmm.
is kind of fucking stupid. But yeah, so I had this dream last night that I was like a lizard man. Like I was a giant lizard man, and I wasn't really being violent or mean or anything. I was a lizard man, but I wasn't like a rampaging lizard man. I was like a calm, collected lizard man who just happened to be strong. And I was
What
working in like a forest or something.
what
Oh,
did you
go ahead.
watch? Why was it a lizard
Well,
man? Have you
okay.
watched something recently?
I think it's something I read. I think it's something I read because I've been reading this manga called Doro Hidoro, where the main character is like a lizard man, and he's like been transformed into a lizard man. So for whatever reason, I was a lizard man, and I think that was the case. There's a character named Kaiman, and I think for some reason I was in my dream. I was him. I don't know fucking why. I know it's stupid. I know it's dumb and bad, but it's just the way it is.
I
But
mean,
that's not
it's
really the
just
point of the dream.
dreams. Dreams are stupid and bad.
Well, they're not bad. Okay.
Well,
Well,
they're
yeah. I
bad
guess I shouldn't say it's
sometimes.
bad. It's like they can be bad. Yeah, dreams can definitely be bad. Um, but the in this particular dream I had, it was like a friend that I had like a falling out with, like someone that I was really close with, came to me, like, and this like I'm talking about like in real life, a person that I don't really associate with anymore. They came to me and they asked me for help, and it was like everything was sunny and bright and everything was fine, and it was like wishful almost, you know, and it was like he asked me to do something for him. I don't even remember what it was, and it was just like there was such a friendly communication between us. And I woke up and I remembered I was like, yeah, that's I guess that's kind of the feeling of like looking back at good memories, I guess, you know, and then kind of having those good memories kind of soured, you know. It's kind of like a dream. It's kind of like a dream that when you wake up from, you're like, oh shit, everything was a dream, you know, kind of like that. But or maybe that sounds a little bit like pretentious or something. I don't know. It's just what happened. But
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how we can get back on the angels the angel egg, but
Angel's egg.
yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. It gives you these kinds of conversations that kind of take you down the rabbit hole, I guess. You know, I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
Oh,
It kind
also,
of
I
makes you
did want
think
to say
about things.
if anyone in chat has any ideas about like any theories with this movie, or if you haven't seen it, we do recommend you go see it and kind of get your own idea of it, right? Because everyone
Hmm.
has a different idea.
Yeah.
So if you do
Yeah,
have your
everyone
own
has a different
theory,
take on it.
go ahead and put that in chat, and we'll go ahead and talk about it. So
Yeah.
we've had a couple people come in,
And
so
oh, okay, that's
and
cool.
they've been coming in
Well,
doing stuff. So
oh,
Heather and
that's
I've been
sweet.
chatting though.
I
So
didn't know that. Well, oh, you know,
I just
that's no
wanted
big deal.
to be heard. If you have any ideas, just
Yeah.
share them. We're open to anything.
Well, I mean,
Did you cut out? Hello?
and really like.
I think my internet just went down real quick.
Uh oh, that's no good.
No, we're back. I'm back. I can
Okay.
hear you again.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I was saying. I guess I was saying. I recommend that. I would recommend it to everyone. But should we give it a score? Should we give it a score? Is that a thing? Should we do that? Should we give it a
Let's do the
score, or is it like?
score.
Is that too?
Do you want to do the score now?
Well, I'm trying to think if we even should, right? Because giving it sometimes I feel like giving a score to something is kind don't know. It's kind of like diminishing. You know, I don't know. It's because it's not really an objective score. Because like if I was speaking objectively about the movie, I might give it like a 7. But if I go off of enjoyment, I might give it like a 9 or some like like
Yeah,
I'm not saying that is my score, but
I don't know if movies like these should be scored. Now, next week's
right.
movie, I think we could score. This one's just makes you think. It just a lot of
What is it?
symbolism and just makes you think. I don't think it's more like a documentary of sorts, but it's
What is
not.
it though? What is it?
I don't know. Let me see what categories they put it in. It's gonna be anime, that's for sure. Anime,
Well, I'm kind of
fantasy,
confused about what you're talking about.
like what? I don't think. I
Oh wait,
think
are you
that
talking
it,
about Angel's Egg?
yeah, I think that it just makes you think more than anything. It's not really a movie. I feel like it's art.
Oh yeah.
It's more
Yeah,
art than
it's kind of
anything.
like yeah, it's like a stream of consciousness. It's like someone just had a bunch of fucking ideas, and they're like, all right, here are my ideas. But I mean, then again, that I guess you could say that's all movies. It's just like more refined, I guess. Not to say this movie isn't refined. Like it's definitely had a lot of effort put into it. And actually, something I just remembered actually, when Mamoru Oshii made this movie, it actually caused him to get trouble. It actually caused him trouble getting jobs in the anime industry for a couple years, because it was like pretty controversial, pretty poorly
Really
received at
rigid,
first.
really religious. That's what I did find surprising was, I think I'm thinking about China. Does China ban Christianity? Christianity? I think
Well,
China's banned it.
China's like a pseudo communist. Well, it's basically just a communist state, right? And in communist countries, religion is kind of a no go because
Yeah,
it causes like a dissemination between people's beliefs and stuff. So I'm pretty sure Christianity is like totally not a thing there, not allowed.
is Christianity like allowed or in what is it in Japan, or is it a
Oh, in
heavy
Japan,
religion?
absolutely.
Because I
I don't
didn't
know the
know that
size
until
of it.
I didn't know that until recently. I've
Okay,
been starting to watch those anime things that you've recommended me, and a lot of them
right.
are religious. So that Devilman Crybaby,
Oh yeah.
that one,
Well, I think the thing is, I think the thing is that most people, like like when Christianity was brought to Japan, it was by like um God, what's the word? I'm gonna mess this up and say the wrong thing. Could you look it up? Because it's like I know what
Shintoism.
it is. No, Shintoism is like the nat like their native belief. That's like their belief system. Like the that's like the that's like the common like thing, I think, is Shintoism. I'm pretty sure that's like
Well, the
their national religion
guess how
basically.
many are Christian?
How many?
1 to 1.5% of the population claims Christian belief, but most of them actually are Shinto or
Okay, so
Buddhist. So I think
right.
they do have. That's what I'm thinking of is suppression. They have suppression on the Christianity. They haven't banned it. They suppress it.
Okay.
So it was
Yeah.
banned back in 1614, and then they opened it back up.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
not
I'm
a
pretty
popular
sure
one.
like when colonialism was going around,
Hmm.
right? People brought it to Japan. And that's how Christianity has spread, historically speaking, is that people from Europe have colonized.
I always think of
Colonize. I say colonize.
when
It's
I
really
think of the
terrible.
spread of Christianity, I tend to think of the Vikings and pagans and their
Yeah.
pagans, and when they went to uh, they started to colonize Britain and take over it. They
In
started,
England, yeah, they went to colonize England.
yeah, they started having Christian like a holy war, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's when they started converting to Christianity.
Yeah. And that's also why paganism is so shunned,
I
like
do find it
by
funny.
Christian.
Also, whenever sometimes they'll say paganism as like devil worship.
Yeah, and it's
It's
not
not.
that. I mean, it's just different. It's just a different, more obscure set of beliefs that aren't as popular as Christianity. But of
Have you?
course, that's the thing. Oh, go ahead.
Do you have Netflix?
I do not.
I was just
I
thinking,
used to, but I don't.
you might be able to find it somewhere, but the TV show Ragnarok. It's a Swedish TV
Ragnarok. I've
show.
definitely heard of it.
It's a Swedish TV show that it's Netflix specific, and it talks about how like the old gods and like Ragnarok is still hasn't ended yet.
Mm-hmm.
But Ragnarok is potentially, they call it the end of paganism.
Right. Well, Ragnarok is like supposed to be like the end of everything, right? It's like the death of the world, right? Am
It's
I
the
wrong?
war, but it's the war of the gods and titans.
Okay. Yeah.
Not titans, they're the giants. Giants is what they are.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Fucking
I definitely recommend.
Norse mythology is so cool.
Yeah, I like Norse mythology, but I really like Greek mythology. But Norse mythology is my second place. So
Mm-hmm.
they have a lot of good stories.
Well, you should if you're interested in like Viking stuff and Norse stuff, you should definitely check out an anime called Vinland Saga. I know I texted you about
Yeah, I've
it,
been trying to
but
find out what subscription like any subscription area
dude,
I can get it from. I don't. They don't have it on Verve. They don't have
you
it on
can
Verve.
only
So
watch it. Get this, okay? Get this. This is kind of a dumb fucking business decision. You can only watch it on Amazon Prime Video. That's the
I
only
think
way
I
to
did
watch
see
it, and
that,
it's
but
like,
I don't want to fork over the money for Amazon Prime. So
yeah. Like low key, I could send you a website where you could just watch the whole thing for free,
hey,
because that's kind of the hot
don't
trend.
talk about that right now. After the stream, just send it to me.
Oh,
Just no,
okay.
I'm just kidding.
Got it. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you what
Don't
it
tell
is
me.
here. Even though everyone who's interested probably already knows, but
Yeah, but you've been recommending me that. But how many seasons is it? I saw like 17 seasons or something.
it's only one. It's only one season. It's only 24 episodes.
Well, I've been looking up on Amazon and it says there's 17 seasons or something. And I was like, what the heck?
What? A Vinland Saga?
Let me see. Maybe I'm thinking I looked up the wrong one. Oh, yep. There's only one season, but how many episodes are there?
24.
Oh, that'll be easy watch.
Yeah, it's a good one to knock out. Like, I'd recommend it as a good entry level.
I'll probably
Anime.
watch it after I finish Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
And
Well, oh yeah, you're in the mid. You're right in the middle of Attack. Well, not right in the middle, but you're
No.
in the action of Attack
Yeah.
on Titan.
And I'm also watching at work for some reason. I'm allowed to watch Devilman Crybaby.
Oh, you're watching Cell. Wait, you're watching Cells at work.
Yeah, I'm watching Devilman Crybaby at work.
Okay. I thought you said Cells at work. I was like, what?
no, Devilman Crybaby, which
Okay,
a lot of
yeah,
tits and ass.
yeah.
Found that
I
out
think
real
you're probably. I think you'll like that. I think you'll really like Devilman Crybaby thoroughly.
What is it? I also found Netflix does have another series. It's like, let me pull it up. Make sure that not to. It's a one about Greek gods. That
Is
is
it
an
a-
anime
an
about
anime?
Greek gods. It's a Netflix series. So I do have Neon Genesis is one that I've also been thinking about doing.
Oh
And
yeah.
JoJo's Bizarre. That JoJo's Bizarre is a bit. I've heard a lot of good things, but then negative things also.
Well, the thing about JoJo's is okay. Well, okay. Confession time. I used to be like the most fucking annoying JoJo head like ever, and like JoJo fans are known for being like incredibly like fucking obnoxious, like very annoying, like very very annoying, like incessantly fucking annoying, and they kind of are. But JoJo itself is a great series. I mean, I definitely recommend it. It's funny, especially if you haven't been exposed as much to it. It's definitely very very funny, and it's a really enjoyable show. But basically, just avoid the community. Just completely avoid the JoJo
That's what I
community.
do.
It's
I
pretty
avoid
bad.
every community.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, there you
Uh,
go.
It's the anime's called Blood of Zeus.
I have never heard of it. I've never
It
heard of
looks
that.
interesting. I like how they depict the gods more
Hmm.
like how they would. See, like people think Zeus never got like Zeus is known and notorious for having sex all the time, so
Yeah,
but they never
like
depict
a
any of that in
badass.
thing. He's not none of the gods are supposed to be good people.
Oh yeah, they're kind of supposed to be oppressive, aren't they? Like
Yeah.
super oppressive and
They just
harsh.
watch everyone and then they also get in the way of humankind. So,
I think you. I think if you like if you like Greek gods, okay, might seem like a stretch, but I promise you there's a connection here, okay? So if you like Greek gods, you should check out The Wire. Okay? No, I'm
uh,
serious. I'm serious. There's actually a reason. It's like completely intentional.
if you like Norse
The so you
gods,
know how
you should check out American Gods.
Madman.
No, American Gods.
No. Okay, I know. but
American Gods.
um yes. No, but the thing about okay, so here's the thing about The Wire, right? Is that in Greek mythology, right? The thing that damns humanity basically is are the gods, right? Like they're like you said, they're like this oppressive, harsh force against like they're an obstacle for mankind. Well, The Wire is based off of it takes many of its the aspects of its story from Greek mythology, but puts them in a modern setting, basically, where instead of Greek gods being the obstacle or the oppressor, it's like institutions and organizations and like sociocultural things that hold people down, I guess. And it's literally it's like a deliberate connection between Greek gods and like modern society, basically. So that's the connection I was talking about, basically.
What is it? That sounds. I just looked it up. It looks pretty good. I might give it a try. I want to watch some of the animes you've recommended me first, and then I'll do it. Uh, but I
Yeah.
definitely recommend if you're into like Norse gods and stuff. They have the American Gods series, which
Mm-hmm.
I know you have a way to get it to the season one because I have it on my Voodoo account, so you can watch it there.
Oh,
And
they
then
have shows on there. They have shows on.
yeah, I've got The Outsider on there, and then I've got American Gods season one. I want to get season two,
Okay.
but basically they depict. So like when they're talking about Christianity, each version of Christianity has their own version of Jesus. So like the
Yeah.
Hispanic people have their version of like a Mexican Jesus, and they have like
Yeah.
the Catholic Jesus, which is supposed to be a little more harsher and more just what is it? I don't know. Is it the Catholic Jesus?
Relentless.
Yeah. Is it the Catholic Jesus who has the yellow thing around the head? Tends to have light coming
Uh,
from behind him. They have that.
and he has the crown of thorns
Yeah.
and he's yeah, yeah.
They they
My
have
family was raised Catholic.
they have a lot of those depictions at the near the end of the season, but there's a lot like basically all the gods are like all the old gods are in hiding. So you'll have like I think the main one that you everyone knows is Odin. Straight off the bat is like the first character you
Mm-hmm.
know. Odin is in like Odin has a friend that follows him, and then he's got all his eyes, the ravens that'll follow him and be his eyes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely recommend giving it a try. It's pretty good.
It's
Um,
called American Gods.
it's called American Gods.
Okay, I will definitely check that out. I will check that out when I get home today, because that definitely does sound like something I'd be interested in.
But
Like because, well, you see, I thought that American Gods was a show about like, okay, this is gonna sound dumb, but I always thought that that show was about like money or something. I thought it was about like American billionaires or something.
no, well, sometimes it's basically Odin going around and making deals with people. That's kind of what it is. But
Hmm.
most of the people he makes deals with are other gods, or he tries to like recruit them for an army. So like the
Hmm.
it's new gods versus the old gods. That's what it is. So like
Oh, okay.
Christianity's in the center, and then the new gods are like technology, and it's a bunch of like technology, TV, all these things we rely in and like watch on like basis is kind of worship nowadays.
Oh.
So
So,
it's
oh, wait,
definitely
wait, wait. So
something
it's
you'll
kind of
love.
like,
You'll really like. We could do an
yeah,
episode about that later if you end up watching the
I would
series.
totally be fine with that.
It's
Like we could
really
do
good.
like a season 1 thing. We could do like a
Yeah.
thing where it's like, oh, season 1, recap or whatever. I'd totally be fine with that. I
It's
might just,
it's it's a really interesting
binge it.
series. It'll be right up your alley. So I think,
Awesome.
well, if do you want to try to rate this movie? I'd rate it the way like an art piece would. I'd be that kind of way, like how I,
Yeah.
because I feel like the dialogue is there just to kind of relay some of the main points. It's not so like
Yeah.
the Noah's Ark ideas and like comparing like Noah's Ark to what's been happening on the Earth and everything, or what we deem as Earth, or it could be purgatory
Yeah.
or whatever. I feel like the
I mean,
best way to
I
rate it
think
is the best way to rate it is by rating it like an art piece. Describe it how it makes you feel and stuff.
it is. Well, I mean, that's kind of what we've been doing this whole time, I guess. So, I mean, if I were to give it like a rating, right, from a scale of 1 to 10, like I think it's kind of gotta, I'm just gonna like acclimate my feelings of like objectivity and enjoyment, I guess. I'm just gonna mix them together, I guess. So overall is what I'm saying. Oh, 1 second, I got to burp. Right.
That was
Sorry.
a loud one.
Sorry.
I
Sorry
was
about
actually
that. Anyway,
expecting more, but
I've been holding it in. I've been holding it in the whole time.
go
Yeah.
on with your
But
idea.
I guess I'd give it an 8. I'd give it an 8 out of 10, I think. I'd give it an 8. A solid 8.
I'm thinking I'm not used to anime, so I don't want to do it low because I'm not used to it. So I like the
Mhm.
story, and I like it. Really gives me a kind of a Martin Scorsese vibe, just how deep and like
Really?
it kind of just gives me that vibe. Just like there's so much symbolism and stuff. Kind of relates to like The Godfather somewhat. It's slow, but it has a lot of good
Slow
points.
burn. Yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
also, one thing I did want to hit was when she sees her reflection. I was kind of thinking that could be like a coming of age type of thing, but I'm not sure if that's
Oh,
really what that is. It could be, I don't know, seeing her true self, or
that's what I thought too. That's like the thing I actually thought is that it was her seeing the way she actually is. I thought it was definitely a possibility that
or
she had
seeing
been
her
seeing herself as
sins.
young for
What
so
if she was
long.
seeing her sins? Because that'd
Well,
be
I mean,
a
how
really
though?
religious thing. I don't know. Uh, I kind of forget about what she saw a reflection of herself that's blue, and that blue
Yeah,
could be the water. But did they act differently? But then she touched it. It's really just hard to
came
understand. But
close into it, like face to.
yeah, but there's so many different ways you
I
can
thought
take
that
this.
maybe it was like she had been. Oh yeah, for sure.
Go
I mean,
ahead.
that's like the thing about this movie. Sorry, there's a little bit of delay there, but yeah, it's like I feel like maybe she just was so used to seeing herself as a child because that's how she is. That when we see that reflection, I think that might just be the way that she actually is. Maybe she aged just like the man had, you know? Maybe she did. And maybe that's why we see her that way, you know? That's kind of what I think. It's also possible that she is just a little girl. I don't know. But it's an entertaining thought.
Well, I'm just postponing the inevitable by giving ideas. I'd give this movie maybe, or piece of art, kind of like a. I don't want to give it too low. I'm definitely not going to say 5. I'd say maybe like 6 or 7, because some of the points are hard
Okay.
to hit for me, just because it's not what I'm used to. But I'm trying to
Right.
understand a little more. See, And now
Mhm.
I get why you'd rate it so high. Uh, it's just not what I'm used to. But I did like it. I did enjoy
Mhm.
it. It's just a little harder for me to understand. But I've been watching Attack on Titan, so I can read subtitles quicker and understand what's going on plot wise.
You're in
So
the training. You're in the fucking
yeah,
anime training.
I'm like Hercules in the Disney movie. I'm being trained by Danny DeVito.
Yeah. I mean, I respect your score, honestly. I totally get it. I think sometimes people rate things too high, you know? Like, even I do that sometimes. I rate things too high. So, I mean, like, people fail to understand that, like, a 6 or 7 is, like, well above average, you know?
It's rare that you will get a 10 out of 10 from me. I'm just gonna say that. There's
Yeah.
always something you can improve on. So I think the only 10
Yeah,
out of
well,
10 movie I'd have is like Gladiator, because I think that's a
right.
perfect film, except for some
Well, I
minor
think,
flaws.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like, you can, for a 10 for me, right? When I think of a 10, I usually think in terms of enjoyment. Like I care about how a story makes me feel and how it makes me think more so than I do about how it's constructed. You know, so if I give out tens more frequently to things, but I still withhold tens. Like I've only given a 10, I guess, to like a couple things, like very few things. Like I talk about a lot of things I like that I think are very close. But like off the top of my head, I can maybe only think of 3 things I could give a 10. And you already know what the one is. You already know what the big one is that is a 10 for sure.
Is it an anime or is it? I'm trying
It's
to
it's
think.
a manga.
Oh, I kind of have an idea, but I'm not sure. You constantly talk about anime, and it's just hard to follow along sometimes. So, uh,
Yeah. No, I understand.
what
I'm not making
anime
you
is it?
guess.
It's not an
I'll tell
anime.
you what
It's a
it is.
manga. No, I want to guess. I want to
Yeah.
guess because I know you said it
Okay.
before. Oh,
I have a
I know
tattoo
what
of
it
it.
is. I know what it is. Yeah, now I know what it is. Berserk.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
And
my
then
favorite story ever.
yeah, I see. I see why Berserk's pretty good. I don't think. I've been looking at the newer stuff for it. I don't like the animation style of the newer stuff.
Oh,
So
my
like the
audio cut out. One
Netflix.
second.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me again? We'll just wait. Utter
Wait,
silence.
can you hear me? My audio cut out. That's fine. It should be fine now.
Okay, so what I was saying was, are you done with the echo? Are you done with?
Yes. Yeah. Wait. Oh, wait. No. Sorry. I put in my headphones. Okay. All right.
Okay. What is it? I do not like the newer versions, like the animation styles they're using for Berserk, where it's like a 3D animation.
Oh yeah. Like, don't even get me started.
Netflix
I
has
think
their
that
little Berserk animation series or anime series.
yeah. Well, they have a trilogy of movies. Okay. Well, here's the thing about Berserk, right? Like Berserk is just so good that every time they try to adapt it, they almost fall completely on their face, basically, because it's like so perfectly suited for the manga format. It just fits it so well. So I don't know. I mean, there have been good adaptations of it. Some every interpretation has gotten something right. Like for example, the '97 anime, the old anime, is definitely the best of them. Best of all the Berserk adaptations. It has like the best music. Animation's kind of super dated. Actually, it's super dated, but it gets like so much of the feeling of the story right. And then you have like the 2016, 2017 anime, which I literally think is the worst fucking garbage fire atrocity that mankind has ever committed. It's like the worst fucking thing possible. They took like they fucked up everything. And because of that anime, like people think that's what Berserk is. And it's really sad because it's not. Everyone hates the 2016, 2017 anime. It's done completely in CG. It's total garbage.
I
And
what is it? The I've been watching. Yeah, Attack on Titan. When they do the 3D scenes, they do it selectively. They use CG
yeah.
selectively, so whenever they're doing the what is it they call it? Like it's they're in 2D and then they turn into 3D that with their little like what is it? I forget. Do you know what their
They're like
machines called?
their gear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
their
the
gear.
3D. It's like called the like ODM gear. ODM gear, I think.
Yeah, their ODM gear, and then that's the only time you see really 3D is when they're moving really quickly through a city.
Yeah.
I also did
Well,
want
if
to.
you keep watching Attack on Titan,
No, you go ahead.
unfortunately, if you keep watching Attack on Titan, um, you're gonna notice that there's gonna be a shift to using more CG, especially in the
Oh
most
man.
recent season.
Oh
Well, no,
man.
here's the thing though. Okay, this is like a hot debate going on right now. Like people are losing their fucking mind over the newest season because the Wit Studio. Okay, well, I guess I kind of have to explain how anime studios work in order to explain this. But for example, for Attack on Titan, there's a studio, right, that animated it for like the first 3 seasons. And so they have that similar art style. And then they took on a new studio called Studio Mappa, and they started doing everything, all the Titans in CGI. And I'm not gonna lie, okay, they kind of look ass. Like they kind of look really bad in the way that the new studio does it,
Well, I
which is
like the
very
way the
disappointing.
Titans look currently. For the first seasons where they're like 2D, I think it's leaves you on edge.
Yeah, it feels like it fits in the world more, you know.
I can't
But
wait
yeah,
to see them
so
in 3D.
it's very unfortunate, Matt. It's very unfortunate, but you know, it's okay. You'll be and like I don't know. Like in terms of anime, right? There are very few anime that I've given a 10, and I can only think of two off the top of my head. One is Monster by Naoki Urasawa, the anime, um, and then the other is an anime called Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
You gave Perfect
Those are the
Blue a
only
10.
two.
I think you gave Perfect Blue.
Oh, and Perfect Blue, and Perfect Blue.
I've
Yes.
been looking that one up. I've been really interested in watching it. It's just I can't find it
Yeah.
anywhere. It's one of those ones that I'm having trouble finding. But it pops up
Yeah. Older
places.
anime are kind of harder to find. What were you saying?
It pops up in a couple places every once in a while, though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I gave Perfect Blue a 10 because I think it's Satoshi Kon's masterpiece. Like that director. Unfortunately, he died very kind of young from cancer, from like an aggressive cancer. And he was a very talented director, and I think that Perfect Blue is like his magnum opus, so to speak. But I don't want to like keep rambling on about anime because I know it's torturing you. So so
Hey, I ramble about American films all the time, so I think that's
yeah. I mean, I
perfectly
like
fine.
American films too. I love American films. I just have seen more anime. So it's like I talk about it more because I've seen more of it, you know.
Yeah. Well, at some point, I would like to do a stream where I do a my anime list,
Mhm.
but that'll be down the line when I see a lot more anime. So,
Yeah. I mean, do you have like a My Anime List account or something like where you
no,
can
I'll have to create
catalog it?
one. I'll probably end up doing it for like a special stream. Maybe like one of my middle of the
Yeah.
week streams, which tend to be like Minecraft or
Well,
video
I would
games.
recommend you. Yeah. I mean, I would recommend that you do it sooner than later because, like, once you've seen a lot of anime, you might literally forget that you've seen some, and then you won't be able to like keep track of which ones you have seen or haven't seen. Or maybe that's just me. That's probably just me.
I think I have a pretty good memory, but I also have a photographic memory more so.
Mhm.
So when I not photographic, it's not photographic. I remember pictures a lot more than I do titles.
Oh,
So
okay.
if I see an anime that has the same like picture, photo, or character on the front, I'll kind of get the idea that I've kind of seen that, but I won't know how many
Yeah.
episodes I've seen. That's just how I work.
Mm.
It's the same thing with when I see someone's face, I recognize them, but I forget the name.
Oh yeah.
So yesterday I saw someone
Yeah,
in
yeah. I
Walmart,
kind of
so and I
that
couldn't
sucks.
recognize them.
I hate it when that happens.
Well, no, I could recognize them, but then I forgot their name for a second. But then I was like, oh yeah, that was someone I was friends with a long time ago.
Uh, I think I'm good at remembering names, but I think I tend to mix faces together.
What is
Like
it?
I just think everyone looks like everyone else.
I don't want to go back to Attack on Titan, but I keep thinking Aaron Yeager. I keep
Yeah.
thinking his name is Neri or something. Like it's
Is
Aaron
what?
backwards. Aaron backwards.
Oh,
Nere or
I
something.
mean, Aaron, where you're at, Aaron probably seems pretty generic right now, doesn't
It
he?
seems like such an American name. I like Mikasa's name.
Uh huh.
I like Mikasa the
Well,
most, just in general.
I can't really tell you, I can't really tell you stuff relating to their names. I can tell you something.
Nah, no,
Um,
no, 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 no. I'm not.
no, no, not
As long
spoiler.
as it's
This is
not a
not a
spoiler.
spoiler.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
not a spoiler. Their names are just. It's just kind of just a fact. Their names are very clearly based on German names, like Aaron Yeager, you know, stuff like
That
that.
might explain some of the stuff. I understand. Yeah, I'm not too
Yeah.
far into the first season, but I think I'm a good amount. I set aside some time to do it. Tonight, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm going to stream hopefully later because I got some pretty good
Mhm.
internet right now. So
That's good.
we haven't lost any
Well,
frames. I'm happy about that.
it's smooth. You got the smooth,
Yeah,
smooth
your
frames.
stream quality is good. That's the first time I've ever seen that.
What happened? What did somebody say that?
No, that's just what Streamlabs says. It always says we've
Oh.
lost like 60% of your frames. Get off.
Well, hopefully you're able to stream. Hopefully you're able to stream later without any problems. But
If I can, I'll just stream in the middle of the week. It might be something special. Might be like set up the schedule or set up a calendar or something. I don't know. Set up a calendar with.
Oh,
different
yeah.
ideas.
should we do recommendations, or
Yeah.
should we both
Uh,
recommend something, or is that what?
So are you kind of done with the Angel's Egg idea, and then we can just kind of start closing out the stream and kind of give our recommendations.
Yeah, I
of the
think
week?
we've pretty much covered
Yeah.
I don't think we've covered everything about it,
Now-
but you know.
Yeah, but we could go on for hours talking about this one movie, but I don't think we'll just be repeating stuff after a while.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
So
It's something you have to watch because you make your own interpretation of it. And that's pretty much all you can really say is like you just have to make your own opinion of it. So if you haven't seen it, just watch it.
Oh, I did want to share something for you. So when we analyze a movie, I'd like to call it. We're gonna give this movie a prostate exam.
Oh,
We're gonna give this.
Okay.
We're gonna get way up in there.
all right. We did get way up there. I think as far up as we could with this movie.
Or if a movie's not up to par, we're gonna say this movie needs an what is it? The Dark Knight. Joker says this town needs I can't remember that, but we'll use that at some point if I can remember.
Okay. All right.
This-
Yeah. Just keep it fermenting in your head until.
This
we
town
can
needs an
unleash it.
epidermal? No, that's not.
Oh,
it.
you're talking about a no, an enema.
Yeah, this town needs an enema. That's what we're gonna do. If
Yeah,
the
an
movie needs
enema.
some help. So
Oh, oh God, that's so disgusting.
hey, but if we're gonna analyze a movie, I think it's the best thing we could call it. We're gonna give this movie.
We gotta
a
get in
prostate
there.
exam.
Yeah. Matt, that might be offensive. That might be offensive to
Hey.
people with prostate problems.
Hey, we're gonna have to get them someday.
Yes.
I'm not looking forward.
But no. But so are you are you gonna recommend a movie that we're gonna talk about next week, or
Yeah, I'm
are
gonna
we
announce
both
it
gonna
at the
recommend a
end.
movie? Oh,
I'm
okay.
gonna announce my movie at the end, like what we're doing next week.
Oh, okay.
You have an idea of what it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead and recommend whatever you want right now. This is your time
Okay,
to shout outs and all that.
Yeah, so a movie that I really like, I think it's kind of popular, more so popular than Angel's Egg, but it's a romance type movie. It's a romance drama called it's called I Want to Eat Your Pancreas, and it has a really funny name. It has a really funny name, but I swear it's one of the most heartbreaking, like beautiful movies I've ever seen, and it's like It's just so good. It's just so good. It's so good. Every time I've seen it like 14 times, like no joke, 14 times, and I've literally cried every single time that I've watched it. It's just so powerful. So I guess that's just my 2 cents about that, about my recommendation, I guess.
Okay, that's is that your only recommend for this week, or do you have another
Well,
idea?
if I go into any more,
Too
if I go
many.
into any more, it'll just become a tirade. Yeah, it'll just
Yeah.
become a fucking rant.
Okay, my recommended for this week is a movie that I don't think has been too popular, just because it came out in theaters during COVID, and I think it needs a little more views and just like needs to be watched and enjoyed a little more. It's called Unhinged. It's got Russell Crowe. It came out like at the beginning where of COVID, where like the theaters were closing and stuff, and I think it needs
Hmm.
to get a little more love. So that's my
I started
recommendation.
watching it actually. I started watching it
What's
last
your
night.
thoughts so far?
So far, so far, I think okay. I thought the first scene, well, I feel like I might want to save it because you might not be expecting me to think what I think. I think I can tell you, but okay. Well, okay. I'll point out two things, right? One thing is it does the thing where it has like a news reporter, like a montage of news reporters talking over various things happening, and it's like so cliche that I love it.
The
I
best
love
thing
it.
about that is I've seen all those clips on YouTube. If
Fuck,
you
I
look up
fucking don't doubt it.
if you look up car crashes like compilation, you'll see all those
Hmm.
clips.
Like, is it just? I have a feeling that it's like I'm one of those movies that's just actually so bad it's good, or
Well, I
something
think
like that.
Russell Crowe is the scariest man alive after it.
Oh, okay. Well, I
I
mean, I
think
did notice he was pretty intimidating in the first scene. Like I thought that scene was pretty well done.
just wait, it
Like it
gets
was.
he becomes even crazier. It's
Is he like fucking like Fat John Wick
Did you get
basically?
to the diner scene yet?
No, I saw the first scene and I was like, okay,
Okay.
I'm loving this, and then I
Uh
realized that I wouldn't be able to watch it all.
text me when you get to the diner scene.
Like I should pause it and then text you right then.
No, like after the movie or whatever, and just tell me what you
Oh,
thought of the
okay.
diner scene. That scene's the craziest I
All
think
right.
in the whole movie. So
All right. Noted. I'll definitely remember that.
I will be on stream if I do get a text or call from you. We can just I can just have my phone out on speaker. If
All
that's
right.
okay, I guess. Or you can hop on a Discord call and I
Yeah.
have it open. That's if I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Then that's
be able to
that's a
go
good
live.
idea. Hmm.
If not, I'll just write it down
Well,
and then
yeah.
I'll say what you said about it. So
I'll definitely check it out. I'll finish it. I'll finish it tonight probably.
do we do? Should I announce the next week's movie? Is that what?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so next week's movie is Raw. It came out in 2016. It's a French film, and it is horrifying. Now, if you're gonna watch it, do not eat while watching it. It's not one of those movies. I'm just gonna say
What
that.
if you can eat though? Like, what if you're someone who like doesn't have a like bad stomach when it comes to eating while
Then you
horror?
are fucked up. Then you are really screwed up.
I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it like to enhance the experience. I think I'm gonna eat like while watching it,
Well, I
and
don't
then
think it's
tell
as
you. That way
gross
we
as
get.
like Human Centipede, but I still think it's pretty gross. It
Hmm.
all the lights
If you
went
will,
out.
you telling me. Uh oh, that's not good.
No,
Will
all my
you telling me
lightsaber
what it's
things.
about? Will you telling me what it's about make it more
I think that would spoil it. I think it would.
okay?
I think it would ruin it. Because I think the main reason I liked it so much was because I went in blind. I was watching it.
Oh.
I was watching it after school, and I had downloaded like I don't know if it was like Hoopla or something, and it had it on it. No, it was Netflix.
Mhm.
I had my MacBook at school, my school-owned MacBook, and I was there stuck at school, and I watched it after school. Now I did do something equally crazy, and at a Christmas party, my friends and I gathered around a phone and watched Human Centipede. We
Well,
like
yeah, that's pretty
these were
gross.
people I didn't know very well, but they still just like started gathering around watching it all together. And then we started
Oh,
watching part two at a
yeah.
Christmas concert.
That sounds fun.
It was fun, really fun. Now that's something we can't
Yeah.
watch on stream, but we could do a movie commentary over it maybe. But
Yeah.
that's that was one of my favorite memories. I think of band is just everyone gathering around my small phone and watching Human Centipede while
Human
on
Centipede.
Netflix.
Yeah. Everyone has those like band memories, I guess. Everyone who's in band. I mean, replace band with whatever it is that you were in, you know? Like those certain memories. I kind of had similar things from bands too. Um, so I know what you mean, but not that specifically, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. So in your band, actually, I did want to ask you, how many different types of people were in your band? Were they all like similar to you, or were they all very different from you? Because I know my band was different.
I mean, like, what do you mean different? Like
Like
personality
different
wise?
like cliques, different like cultures and stuff, like just
Oh,
different areas.
yeah. Actually, yeah. There were different cliques. Except I was really edgy. I was really edgy and mean, and so I didn't really fit into any of them. I just kind of hung around like a couple of them. Um, and also I was the entire. We didn't have an orchestra, and we didn't have any string sections, and I'm a guitar player, and a bass player. So, and I was the only one that played guitar and bass for. Well, no, there was two other guitar players, but they were like a couple grades above me. So by the time I was like a junior, um, by the time I was a junior, there were no. I was this entire string section. So people were kind of organized by. First, they're organized by what instrument group they're in, like woodwinds, percussion, brass, you know. But then they kind of have subdivisions of like the trumpets are cool with the trumpets and the tubas are cool with the tubas and because I played tuba in wind ensemble as well as being like the entire string section. So um, yeah, and then people kind of had like cliques based on personality, which and those were the people that really actually kind of got together and were actually friends. It's like most of my friends were in percussion, um, and a couple of my friends were like the guitar players that were there previously from the previous years. But that's basically it.
Yeah, my band was most of the sections, like clarinet section, trumpet section, would get along. But I do have some stories that I will
Mm-hmm.
probably end up sharing when I'm like streaming in the middle of the week, just out of nowhere. I do have a
Mm-hmm.
Romeo and Juliet story with some people.
Uh
I'll
oh.
change their names and stuff. But yeah, I do
Yeah.
have a couple stories that are just batshit insane. And I
I
have good
have. I also have
stories.
some fucking crazy. Like I have crazy. I have some actually fucking insane band stories, but I don't know if I should tell them. Like I don't know if it's actually right to tell them, because they're one incredibly embarrassing, and two kind of grotesque. So I don't really know if I want to. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'll talk with you outside of it and see if we
Yeah,
should, but I I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I think you told me one of them before, and it's I think hilarious. Um, yeah. Uh, those will just. But I'll change names and stuff. I'll make sure people stay safe. I don't want to embarrass people, so I don't
Yeah.
want to be that person. I don't like being that person. But
Yeah.
some of them
Me
are pretty
neither.
good stories.
I see. Now I'm eager to hear. I am really eager to hear, and I know if I hear yours, I'm gonna want to tell mine. And I know that when I do, I'm gonna be like, well, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's a whole rabbit hole type thing.
Hey, we'll end the stream here, and I can tell you off stream just in case I don't end up sharing
Okay. I mean, okay.
and you can
Or
share
yeah, I'm
mine,
fine with that.
and then we might meet sometime in the future and have no content for a weekend. We'll just go ahead and share stories.
Maybe so. Or yeah.
So let's say bye, Ty.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks for
See you guys
watching.
later.
Make sure to
Adios.
follow, do whatever you can to keep up with us. Thanks. Bye.